Hilchot De'ot. Today's class number 15. And we start with Chaim. Page. Page is 74, right?
74.
Yep.
Okay, so while statements which have negative connotations are prohibited, this would not apply where the listener can be expected to understand that nothing derogatory was intended. So this would not apply. So this does not affect the listener if he doesn't know that there was something negative intended towards the person.
If you're talking about your mutual friend, and the other guy knows how you like him and you love him, and so I mean,
He
say something, he would not misunderstand it,
right.
like he's trying to say something negative, even if it could be interpreted as such.
Right. Okay. So I understand. All right. So therefore, Halachah permits making an ambiguous statement if nothing derogatory is intended, and the unintended meaning of the statement is only mildly derogatory, and the statement is made in the presence of three people or in the presence of the person being discussed. So these are the three conditions that allows you to make an ambiguous statement. As long as, basically, if the person is a mutual person, and like you didn't mean anything derogatory,
yes,
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was nothing. And if it's mildly derogatory?
No, if it's mildly, like, I mean, if it's not like openly derogatory that he's a low life, like that.
Right.
But something like they're going to give us
maybe like I don't know, like what if you say like, oh, I wish he worked harder.
No, that's derogatory. It's not mildly.
Really? Like if you say like you're not saying he doesn't work hard. You're just saying he wishes he worked harder. No.
That's one of the words like that connotes that something is missing. That he's
really okay.
That he's lazy. Maybe not too lazy because he shows up for work, but basically it's not good.
Okay, I understand. All right, so. All right, and then the statement is made. All right, and the person is there. Okay, so
three people, meaning that it's a public statement.
Right.
And basically, public statement means for sure that this statement is going to go back to that to the subject of the discussion.
Okay. So, as an illustration, the early commentators offer the statement: "In that house, something is always cooking on the stove." This could mean that the family's door is always open to guests, or it could mean that the family is overindulgent. Okay.
That is a perfect example.
Yeah, it's actually really good. Yeah. So if the statement were to be made in the presence of three, one can safely assume that it would eventually become known to the family of whom it was said. Such being the case, the listeners would assume that the speaker intended it as a compliment. So because there's three people there, the listeners assume that, oh, well, he said this knowing that I would tell them, so it's a good thing because it can't be a bad thing. Otherwise, why would he tell us, right? Like that. So it would also be permissible to make such a statement in the presence of the family of whom it was said. So you say in front of the people that you always have food here.
No, it's not food. It's always something cooking in your house.
Right, you always have something cooking. Right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Since it would be obvious to all that there was no derogatory in that. Oh, interesting. Okay, I like this one. This is good.
Like, I'll give you another example. There is some people I know this couple, a religious couple. So they used to live in Long Island, and then their life was boring. They become Bolshevik, so they moved to Brooklyn, and now they rented the children live separately. I don't know what, probably in their 60s. So now they have 3-bedroom apartment. I think they rented. They sold their house, right? So rented this apartment, and let boys stays, like boys that comes to Lerner Yeshiva and this place, that place, that they need a place to stay, so they stay in their apartment.
I made a blessing earlier, just so.
Okay, yeah. You understand? So it's like you can say that there are all like I'm not sure if they feed in this. I'm not sure. So, but basically, you can sell that there are always people in the apartment. There's always something is cooking. There are, like,
I get
big tzaddikim, yeah. All right. I would go crazy if I have a new guest every few days.
I know people that I met through my wife that just always have guests. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do. I like hosting. I actually had somebody over my first time since we got married. It was actually, I wanted to do this mitzvah forever. I finally invited somebody from my shul, that kid.
Okay. So he stayed over or no?
No, he came on Saturday.
Saturday day, during the day.
Hey, I mean, he stays in the shul all day on Saturday. So we just have nowhere to sleep. So he took a nap on my couch Saturday, but it was nice. I spoke to him. There's a lot. I'll tell you about it another time. But we're talking. I sent him Rabbi Yaron's videos, and he was like, "Oh, thank you for sending me." He's like, "It was so inspiring." So Baruch Hashem, you know, like,
it's very good. So that's actually whatever you just described. It's actually a mitzvah. So all other things like when you invite your friends, there is no mitzvah at all.
Right. Yeah.
Have a guest. So that there is a specific person. There is no other place for him to go.
Right.
That's the definition of the mitzvah to have guests.
Oh, when they have nowhere else.
When you have couple, another couple, I don't know, 3 blocks from you, you visited them. Next Shabbos they come to you, and there is no mitzvah.
There's no mitzvah. Oh, it's just somebody who needs a place to eat and things like that.
There is no other place for him. If not for you, he would not have any place. That's the definition of the mitzvah.
That's the definition.
And many people, they don't know. They think they're big.
They think just having people over. And I was thinking, wow, so many people that just invite people over, and I'm just like, they just want this mitzvah. I can't. Sometimes I can't tell.
Many times, unfortunately, the people are bored. And they need somebody like somebody fresh faces.
That's what I think. That's what it feels like to me, because we constantly get this in. I'm like, I feel like we're like a buffer, like maybe there's just something missing and they need people there. I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, all right. So, but that's when you have this feeling, it means that something is wrong between in the shalom bayis that you need to work on, right? Okay, so continue. So we're in Hilchot De'ot, chapter 3, and the Mishnah also 3.
Right.
And so it says, a person who accustomed himself to live by the rules of the medicine does not follow the proper path if his sole intention is the entire body and the limbs be healthy, and that he have children who will do his work and toil for him. Rather, he should have the intent that his body be whole and strong, in order for his inner soul to be upright, so that it will be able to know God. For it is impossible to understand and become knowledgeable in wisdom when one is starving or sick, or when one of his limbs pains him. Similarly, one should intend to have a son with a hope that perhaps he will be wise and great man in Israel. Thus, whoever walks in such a path all his days will be serving God constantly, even in the midst of the business dealing, even during the physical intimacy. For his intent in all matters to fulfill his needs, so that his body be whole to serve God. Even when he sleeps, if he retires with the intention that his mind and body rest, lest he take ill and unable to serve God because he is sick, then his sleep is the source of the omnipresent, blessed be he. In this matter, our sages have directed and said, and all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. This is what Shlomo declared in his wisdom. Know him in all your ways, and he will straighten your path. It's Proverbs 3:6. Okay. So let's go from the beginning, and now commentary, and we can discuss things. Okay. So it says, a person who accustoms himself to live by the rules of the medicine does not follow the proper path in his sole intention. If his sole intention is that the entire body and the limbs be healthy. Okay, so commentary 29. The Rambam puts the maintenance of health mentioned in the previous Halachah into a proper perspective. It is not to be pursued as a goal or in its own right. Rather, it should be appreciated as a merely means to enable one to reach the awareness of God. The Rambam develops this idea at length as Shmona Prakim, chapter 5, stated. So basically, what Rambam is saying, you have to be healthy, but you have to be healthy in order to serve Hashem, not to be healthy to be, I don't know, to look good and do whatever his heart desires.
Mhm.
A person should have the intention while eating, drinking, engaging in physical intimacy, sleeping, awakening, moving, and resting, that he does so for the purpose of his physical health alone. That's right.
Mhm.
His
Right, like
intention.
you shouldn't make like a career like, oh, I just like health.
Yeah.
Right.
Like all of these magazines, all of these like I don't know what people do. His intention in seeking physical health should be to prepare for the soul healthy and sound vessels, to acquire wisdom and intellectual and emotional advantages until he reaches the goal of knowing God. So as Rambam is going, as we just said, so when the person is sick or he's let's talk about health, right? So when he's sick and he has this ache and that ache, so it's not so easy to concentrate on his learning, and he cannot work. So he's like has all the 1.5 million worries in his head. So that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So continue after 29, and then that he have children who will do his work and toil for him. So basically, that's what is in olden days. Who is rich, who has many sons, right? So sons would work in his father's field, in their father field, and this guy becomes rich. So his only goal to in having many children, so he can become rich. Understand? So number
Mm-hmm.
30, there is through the procreation, there is though the procreation is valid reason for physical intimacy. One's intent is in procreation should not be selfish. So it should not be like he has a free workforce, right? But for the high motives. Okay. Rather, so after number 30, rather he should have the intent that his body is a whole and strong in order for his inner soul to be upright, so that he will be able to know God. Number 31. The Rambam also elaborates on the interpretation between the attainment of the physical health and spiritual achievement in the Garden of the Perplexed, volume 3, chapter 27. Health is necessary as a is necessary as a part of the one process of striving to know God. So as we said, when somebody is not healthy, it's like all he's thinking about like his disease, his situation.
Right.
Very fortunate. Somebody like very close to me went through the cancer. So I was talking to this person almost every day. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. For it is impossible to understand and become knowledgeable in his wisdoms when one is starving or sick. So when somebody is hungry, so don't teach. I mean, you can try to teach in Torah, but it's not going to be like it would be very hard for him to comprehend.
But there are people who go through like some kind of suffering, and Torah eases them. No, like I see, like like, meaning like
they bring the suffering upon themselves. You think?
no, like let's say they're going through pain or some kind of treatment, but the one thing that helps them is Torah study. Like, I mean, obviously they're like at a high level. Like, they're people who are already like.
Yeah. They're on a high level, but Rambam talking about like average person. For
An
average person, it's not so easy.
Okay.
It's not so easy, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Just 1 second. So one more time the sentence after number 31. For it is impossible to understand and become knowledgeable in the wisdom when one is starving or sick, or when one of his limbs pains him. 42. The Maggid of Mizrachi would say, a small hole in the body creates a large hole in the soul. Unbelievable. Small hole in the body creates a large hole in the soul. Like sometimes, like you have a paper cut, right? But it hurts so much. It's like unbelievable,
Yeah.
So a small hole in the body. Okay.
I guess maybe it also like, a little like knack on your finger will cause you so much grief that you'll forget what's like important. Like it'll distract you from learning Torah, which causes like a bigger thing than you can. I know, like when I feel bad, like since I became religious, like or I'm too tired or like my stomach is hurting, like I can't even I can't even get up to study Torah. Like I just want to lay in bed, It's like an excuse for me to lay in bed, So I get it.
So that's exactly what Rambam is saying. So all of the things that detract a person from learning, from being close to Hashem, doing mitzvahs. Similarly, one should intend to have a son with the hope that that perhaps he will be a wise and great man in Israel. 33. This is the desired goal in procreation, to perpetuate the nation, not only physically but also spiritually. So
Right.
that's your intention. That's what you want to do, right? And how this son, I mean, you do everything possible, but how the son is going to turn out is not always up to you 100%. It's up to Hashem. But your intention was to bring him to be somebody big in Torah.
Right.
Thus, whoever walks in such a path all his days will be serving God constantly. So he eats, he does this whole procreation, stuff like that. Why? Because in honor of Hashem. Right? That's my service of Hashem. Even in the midst of the business dealing, even during the physical intimacy, for his intent in all matters is to fulfill the needs so that his body be whole to serve God. 34. In Shmona Prakim, the Rambam associates such a behavior with Dvarim 6.5. Love God, your Lord, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. They say with all your possessions. Right? The course of the action describe enable us to dedicate every aspect of our being toward the love of God, as prescribed by this verse. Basically, it's possible, right, to live up to the verse. You just have to concentrate every moment on serving Hashem, and that's I think Mislas Yesharim, he was talking about the love of Hashem. So description of love of Hashem, you have to be love sick. No. It's actually no. It's Hilchot De'ot. Apologies, Hilchot De'ot. So he says like a person who is love sick. He has this woman that he wants to marry, and he loves her very much. So she's constantly on his mind. He cannot think. He cannot do anything in his life. He's constantly thinking about her. So Rambam says, so the same should be Havdil in toward Hashem. So whatever you do, all your thought should be like toward Him and how I can serve Him better.
Right.
Okay. Even when he sleeps, if he retires with intention that his mind and body rest, lets he take ill, and he unable to serve God because he is sick, then his sleeps is a source of omnipresent blessed be He. So I want to get this 15 minutes more sleep so I can get up early and I have better concentration learning Torah. Praying. Okay, 35. Commentary. 35. Perhaps Rambam uses the name of for God to convey the concept that just as God's presence pervades all existence, our source of Him must encompass all aspects of our life. That's why he says omnipresent. Right? So omnipresent means that He's everywhere in our life. So our life should be filled with Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
Continue. On this matter, our sages, 6 hours 2:15, have directed and said, and all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. Number 37. The Shmona Prakim, Rambam elaborates upon these statements as follows. All deeds, right? Our sages included this entire concept in the most succinct. How do you pronounce?
Never heard this word. Succinct?
Okay.
Succinct, probably.
Succinct. Okay, all right. Expression possible. When one meditates on this concise statement, one wonders how they could describe in its entirety an idea so awesome that many books were written about it without encompassing it totally. Without a doubt, the statement was made with divine inspiration. Okay, continue. The commentaries knows that in Beezrat 16a states concerning Hillel, all of his deeds were for the sake of heaven, and associates that with the following narrative in Vayikra Rabbah 34:3. Hillel bid his students farewell. They asked him where he was going. He told them that he was going to perform a mitzvah. They discovered that he was going to the bathhouse and asked him to explain his previous statements. He told them, since human body is created in the image of God, it is mitzvah to wash oneself. That's a very interesting explanation, right? So, body in the image of God, whatever it means.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I have to take care of it. 37. Continue after 37.
Let me ask you something. It's a mitzvah to go to the bathroom to relieve oneself, like to pee, right?
That's clearly from Shulchan Aruch.
Right.
So don't make yourself abominable. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So, but people usually do it naturally. Like you just go to the bathroom and go. But should you have the intent, like, oh, I'm going to do this mitzvah to?
Sure. Even with this, you can do mitzvah. Absolutely. To keep your body clean, especially before the prayers. Especially.
Is it a mitzvah if you do it without thinking that, like, all right, I'll wake up and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do this mitzvah to go pee, to clean my body. But if I just go without thinking that, like, it's a natural, is that like still count as a mitzvah?
It's not a mitzvah then. It has
to be think like, oh, all right, this is a mitzvah. I gotta go.
Yes. keep my body clean before the davening. That's what I must do.
Okay.
And yeah. So otherwise, it's like somebody ate. Like he ate because of his animalistic desires, and it's not because he wants to serve Hashem. Right? Is it a mitzvah? Absolutely not.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. No. So continue after 37. This is what Shlomo declared in his wisdom: know him in all your ways, and he will and he will straighten your path. Okay. Know him in all your ways. 38. Avod the Rabbi Nathan, 17:7, also associate the above statement with the biblical quote. Brachas 63b describes this verse as a small passage upon which all of the fundamentals of Torah depend. Okay. Note also the Rambam's commentary is Shmona Perakim. Okay. Likutei Sichas, this is Chabad. Notes that the rules of the Torah scholarship would have called for quotation of the biblical verse before the quote from the sages. So first, you when we give proofs to sources to what we say, so the
Look for the
most significant would be from a written Torah,
right,
and then from the oral Torah.
Right. So you look for the deraisa first, and then you look for the rabbinical.
Exactly. But he did it opposite. Okay. However, the Rambam chose this sequence because it reflects the progression in service of God. All of your deeds should be for the sake of heaven implies that the deeds are not themselves holy. Exactly as we just merely that they are directed toward the godly intent. So one more time. All of your deeds should be for the sake of heaven implies that the deeds are not themselves holy, meaning just what you just asked, going to the bathroom, right? Merely that they are directed toward the godly intent. But when you said it, that's for the mitzvah, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Know him in all your ways implies that a bond with God can be established within the context of our physical activity itself. So you go to the bathroom again because Hashem said have a clean body and relieve yourself. So that's through this physical act that you need to do anyway. You need to do anyway, so you get a big mitzvah. You get connection.
I don't know. Like I've woken up a few times in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Maybe I can wait. And I'm like, wait, no, I have to go. And, and I'll run to the bathroom. I'll be like, I have to go. So, I can't hold it in. Meaning, I can't hold it in because I know it's a mitzvah. That's why I'm not.
Exactly. Exactly. So don't be lazy. The Rambam said that man can become sterile because of this, because he's holding back. Which he is he's going to be blamed for mutilating himself, which is not good. Okay, so one more time this verse: know him in all your ways, he will straighten your path. Okay, so 38 in Igras HaKodesh, the Ramban interprets the state described in this clause as natural product of the elevated rank. Natural product of the elevated rank of the source mentioned in the previous clause. When a person develops an all-encompassing bond with God, divine light will illuminate all his path. One more time. Let's read one more time, try to understand. So, know him in all your ways. That's the verse. And he will straighten your path. So Rambam interprets the state described in this clause as a natural product of elevated rank. So you're going one step up, right? Osiris mentioned in previous clause. that he's going to straighten your path. Right? When a person develops all encompassing bond with God, divine light will illuminate his path. So meaning you're trying to get closer to Hashem, so he has to guide you to the right path. Okay. So I think we got to this this medical advice, I think. Okay, so let's see. Introduction, chapter 4. The opening lines of this chapter repeat concept found in the final halacha of the previous chapter and continue the line of thought developed there. In the previous chapter, Rambam explained the importance, albeit as an intermediary and not the ultimate goal, of keeping a regimen of diet and behavior that produces physical health. This chapter, he provides the guidelines and ground rules for such a program. So in the previous chapter, he said that a man has to be healthy, otherwise it's hard or almost impossible for most of us to serve Hashem. Okay, so now he's going to give us the details how to stay healthy. As he points out in Halachos 20 and 21, this advice is intended for a healthy person who wants to maintain his physical well-being. So it's not for sick people. So while you have your health, you have to take care of it. Right? A sick person might seek a program that is fitted more closely for a personal condition. So what I learned that many of the diets and stuff like that they were taken from this chapter.
Awesome.
Modern things, right? Moreover, the guidelines suggested in this chapter are not absolute requirements. So one more time, so we have to take care of our health, and Rambam says how. But of course, as we know, the nature change, that people change a lot. The food change and like environment change. So not everything is applicable, but anyway, let's see. In chapters 11 and 12, in Hilchot De'ot U'Shmirat HaNefesh, the Rambam mentioned certain foods and actions which both in the Talmudic times and in the Rambam's time presented actual threats to the person's well-being. This and the Rambam deems as forbidden. There's some things that are forbidden, like dangerous things, like go on Wednesday, like outside. Presented actual, just one second, Rambam time presented the actual threats to the personal well-being. Okay, continue. This the Rambam deems as forbidden. Here the Rambam describes food which are good and bad, implying that though Torah laws would advise that one eat the good food, there is no binding obligation to do so. Meaning bad, it's not like it's not kosher. It's kosher, but it's not good for you. In Igras Moshe, Choshen Hamishpat 2, response on 76, compares the matter of smoking. Though the smoking can be harmful to one's health, there are many smokers who remain unaffected despite their regular use of cigarettes. By the same token, the diet and regimen of health suggested by Rambam is advisable. However, disobeying it will not automatically cause the loss of the physical health. So basically, what they say, if smoking is forbidden, yes, it is forbidden. On one hand, on another hand, one cigarette is not going to kill him.
Right.
And that's right. It's going to undermine his health in general, but to say that you can measure it after each cigarette, it's not.
Right.
Okay? So, and plus, in the days of Reb Moshe that they mentioned, so it was not proven as it's proven today beyond any doubt that people who smoke, they develop a lung cancer, this cancer, that cancer, all of this problem is lungs, like breathing issues, stuff like that. I mean, today it's proven. So today say that it's a maybe, it's not responsible statement. Therefore, though the Rambam offers this guidance as an integral part of his program for the personal growth, he does not make it an absolute requirement. So he said it's a good thing to do, but we said if you want to serve Hashem, you have to be healthy. And in order to be healthy, Rambam will tell us do this and don't do that.
Right.
So is it halachah? No, but otherwise you would not be close to Hashem. So like the bottom line. But this is book of halachah.
Right.
The rationale for the inclusion of this medical advice in the Mishneh Torah, a book of Torah law, can be explained on the basis of Rambam's statement in Hilchos Kiddush HaKodesh, where he explained that he included the means of predicting the location of the moon in that text, where it says, so that everything will be known to men of understanding, and they will not lack any of the Torah's path. Hence, we will not need to go to search for it in other texts. Rather, they will be able to seek from the book of God and read. None of this shall be missing. So let's read it again. So basically, he included this statement in the halachah of new months, right? That's what it Kiddush HaKodesh is. Blessing of new moon.
Mm-hmm.
So let's read the sentence, the statement one more time, and try to explain. So that everything will be known to men of understanding, and they will not lack any of the Torah path. So meaning where to look for the new moon. Right? Hence, they will not need to go and search for it in other texts. So basically, everything in one place. Rather, they will be able to seek from the book of God and read. Go ahead.
Basically, what he's saying, he put all this here in this book of laws because he wants to tell people that the Torah has everything. Medical, health, even the location of the moon, everything is here. You don't need to go look at like secular knowledge or other texts or anything else. Is that what it's trying to say?
That's exactly what when we started from Hilchot De'ot, we skipped the introduction to the Mishneh Torah. Just one thing that he said in the introduction, and as after I'm going to tell you, I'm going to paraphrase it maybe a little because I don't remember how exactly he said, but you can understand that it's created such a commotion in the Jewish world. So basically, he said, Rambam said that now everything you have to read is written Torah and this book.
That's it.
So for oral Torah, you don't need any other sources. So he said, I toiled, I compiled, I did everything for you. So just read and fulfill, and you go to go. So, but so as you understand, some rabbis, some people of his generation, and they just went crazy.
The Torah literally has everything, and I told this to some people. I told them about Shmuel, who was like a little kid, child prodigy, who knew like the whole Torah, and they're like, they look at me like as if like, how's that possible? And then today I see an article of an 11-year-old kid who pretty much finished like college with physics degree and this and that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if this kid who's 11 years old pretty much is like an MIT, can go to MIT right now if he wanted, then Torah already had the same thing, only like at 5 years old, like kids who were 5 years old do the whole Torah, So it's not so like preposterous to think that there were child prodigies in those days too,
Of course not, yeah. But with
the Torah,
with Torah, like it's a divine gift.
Yeah.
That Hashem gives to this little kid, and for For example, in this MIT guy, this boy, this smart kid. So if parents did not notice his outstanding qualities, they might miss it. And this guy, maybe he would be good in playing video games.
Yeah.
He has these talents, but he would never apply them.
Yeah.
But with Jewish education, that's they push kids, right, to apply it to the talents to the Torah. Okay, so I mean it's easier to discover who is smart, who is not smart, who is talented, who is not talented.
Okay.
So continue. So none of this shall be missing. Okay. Similarly, in regards to these points of the medical advice, the Rambam includes them in the Mishneh Torah, so that the person who desires to live in a healthy manner will be able to find guidance from the Torah source without having employed secular text. So basically, he said, okay, so Rabbi Reuven always said, so and please learn the kosher Torah. Don't go to YouTube. Go to Beezrat Hashem app, and you don't have to see all of the advertisements of how to make it late.
Right.
That's what exactly Rambam said. So I already compiled for you. I'm a doctor. I compiled for you in this text, so you don't have to go through the secular studies.
Right.
The actual advice is given by Rambam has provoked such a debate among the commentaries and later authorities. Much debate among the commentaries, later authorities. There are three major areas of controversy, of course. A suggestion he gives based on the works of the sages, or were they taken from the other medical sources available to him at the time? So that's the question. B, should his advice be followed at present or not? So I'm not sure when they asked, but today, as we will see, not everything is so applicable. And C, if there is a contradiction between the advices given in this chapter and the halachic directives mentioned elsewhere in the Mishneh Torah. Maybe there is some contradiction, but most of the time, and at that place he means one thing, and this and here he means something else. But let's see. So now they're going to go through all this disagreement. So A. Are there suggestions that Rambam gives based on the works of the sages, or were they taken from the medical sources available to him at that time? So maybe even not Jewish sources, right? That's what the question is.
Okay, so maybe he. Yeah, good. I was just thinking. So maybe he looked elsewhere because he wasn't like Aristotle times and things like that. So he might have dabbled.
But
things like that.
There is no problem with this whatsoever. You understand? So
right.
all these big rabbis have to give us medical halachah. They talk to the top doctor in this field. You understand? Otherwise, how this rabbi knows? How can he give psak halacha if he does not know about the issue?
Right.
He would talk to the expert, maybe 1 or 2 or 5 experts in the field, and based on his questions and his knowledge of the Torah, he's going to give you the psak halacha.
Psak halacha.
Okay. So that there is no problem to consult him with experts.
Right.
You understand? It's opposite. If he does not consult with the experts, that's the issue.
Right.
The attempt to find rabbinic sources for the material of these chapters is a venerable one. Okay, so as Viram, I don't know if you said it or did not say. So Rambam, when he wrote this Mishneh Torah, he did not put sources in there.
Right.
I mean, all of the sources that you see, it's from translators. or from commentary later on. So that's another reason why many people in his generation, in like when these books were first published, they did not accept, because they saw it's his own opinion.
Right.
But he was trying to make it like flow nicely without all this comments. So you go up, you go down.
That's probably okay.
Just to flow. I mean, he did the work. He said, I'm God-fearing person.
Right.
Like I had this person, so he said, where does it say it? I said, why do you ask where does it say? Are you going to look it up? He said, I might. So I said, when you're going to for sure look it up, I'm going to find it for you. But right now, I don't remember from the top of my head.
Right.
But usually I don't make up stuff. Why should I make up stuff? Example of such attempts can be found in the commentaries of the Midgal Oz and Vadat Hamelach and Aleph Letaf of the Malbim. So these great sages, so they were, you understand how great they were? They were trying to they supply all of this, not all of the most of the sources to what Rambam said. For me, it's a mission impossible, just and without computer, without sources, without meaning to demean the scholarship integrity of these sources. The measure of the of their success is questionable. Okay, so I'm not sure what it means, so they didn't find all of the sources. Or okay, although the Rambam may address the same problems as the sages did, his approach is often radically different, if not opposed to theirs. Even when the approach is similar, the language of Rambam often cannot be clearly taken from Talmudic source. So maybe the idea is the same, but he would paraphrase.
Right.
So it's not exactly the same, and maybe like not everything is written clearly, or they were talking about one thing, but they might imply something else. So
Right.
that's what Rambam would go by. Some other something else. Okay, continue. The case of Mishnah states that through the medical advice, though the medical advice given by Talmudic sages may have been appropriate for their time and place in different eras and lands, other approaches should be taken. So that's we have to know. So in many places the Talmud gives the medical advice, but it's not to be followed today.
Right.
Okay, but it does not mean that the Torah is not divine or Talmud is not divine. So they were just added whatever was true at that time. But it's not a halachah. You don't derive any halachas from that. Hence, the Rambam sought and followed other sources. Meaning not what Talmud says, because it was not applicable. So he was living like after the Talmud, much later.
Mm-hmm.
Many other commentaries, also suggest that Rambam, more often than not, relies on general medical knowledge in this chapter. General medical knowledge. Okay, so it's not from sages, but general medical knowledge. This approach would seem to be supported by closely parallel passages in Rambam medical writings, which often cite non-Jewish medical authorities. Okay. In this context, it is worthy to note that Hilchas Kiddush HaKodesh 1724, Rambam explicitly states that he depends on the Greek sources for information he conveyed. I mean, as we said, he's not trying to hide it.
Right.
There is no problem. Since all of the concepts have been substantiated without question, it makes no difference who author is. So if it's true, it doesn't matter who.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of whether the concept was authored by the prophets or by Gentile, since the rationale for it has been revealed and proven. We do not rely on the author, but rather on the proofs that have been revealed.
So it's interesting because Rabbi Yaron said the same thing. He's like, if Gentiles, goys, or anything like that teach, go ahead, teach anything besides the service of God or Hashem, like science, things like we can learn from them, architecture, things like that. But once they start talking about God, then or anything like that, then that's when we have to like completely ignore them, run away from them. But we can learn sciences from them. We can learn math, everything like that. No problem.
Absolutely.
That's
so
like
the wisdom in whatever they say, we don't deny it.
Absolutely.
Yes. So okay. So he said, if it's true and it was proven, so it does not matter who said it.
Right.
It does not matter. So let's try to finish up. So it's clear that Rambam does not hesitate to use information derived by scientific means, even if it is not found in Talmudic sources. Nevertheless, some commentators have concluded that the placement of this statement in Hilchas Kiddush HaKodesh, which comes far after Hilchot De'ot in the Mishneh Torah, and rather than here, implies that the source of our halachas is Talmudic in nature. So okay, so they say since he did not say this statement there, but here, but only there. So maybe here is he's talking about so sources is from a Talmud.
Right.
So, but basically, like what came into my mind is application Maizmanim. Maizmanim.com. Maizmanim.
Maizmanim?
Yes, it's no whether it's sunset, whether mincha time.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, maybe we're using something else. If you
No, I know, I've heard of it. I use a different one, but I've heard of. I use Jake.
Okay. Whatever, I mean, they have so many like so much data in there. So, but this data was calculated by non-Jews mostly.
Right.
But it's accurate. There is no problem whatsoever relying on this data. You know,
Absolutely.
What is sunset, what is a sunrise, like 8 degrees above the horizon and stuff like that. So there is we're using this data for halachic decisions.
Right. That
there is no such a problem. All right.
Right.
Let's stop
All right.
here. So until next time, Beezrat Hashem. All the best. Bye bye.